the open ones he has gotten, he's not been on target with. I think you got to credit St. John's. A lot of times, Vern, your offense is the beginning of good defense. And that's what's going on with St. John's. They're running their offense well. They're getting good shots. They're knocking down a high percentage of them. And that allows them to get into the full court pressure defensively, which has really bothered Duke.
St. John's has lost 5 of its last 6. They had a big win over Notre Dame. And they actually got off to a 3-0 start in Big East play. And boy, does that help. Harris Horn for 3.
Got to get that ball moved to the other side. Against an aggressive defense, you want to get that ball reversed.
Smith. Rebound St. John's. Kennedy. Nice. Brownlee goes down hard.
Right now, they've got Duke totally flummoxed here. Excellent look by Kennedy, but it's a big guy handling the ball. Front court player handling the ball. At the other end of it, another front court guy running the floor. And that speed along the front line and ball handling ability causing a problem. And Mike Krzyzewski trying to match up by going small.
Brownlee, a 72% free throw shooter, continues this streak of good free throw shooting for St. John's. They're 9 of 10. .520 to go first half. St. John's has almost doubled the margin on Duke. They've scored the last 9 in this game. Duke 0 for 9 on three-point baskets.
And not getting much inside either, Vern. Good, aggressive awareness of where the ball is by St. John.
Kennedy is the foul. Well, we talked about 8 straight games against top 25. And those who rank these things say St. John's has the 3rd most difficult schedule in the country.
And that bodes well going forward. If they get enough wins in the league, in a league the caliber of the Big East to go along with that strength of schedule, then they put themselves in strong position to be an at-large tournament team, Burns.
Dwayne Poley, the freshman out of Los Angeles, Westchester. DJ Kennedy will get a rest. Nolan Smith makes 2. 5 to go.
Can Duke disrupt St. John's a little bit, showing some full court pressure of its own here. But St. John's has been very comfortable offensively because they've been able to do that.
Yes.
They've been able to beat the initial point of attack off the dribble.
Kelly. Hardy has 12 points already in the first half.
We talked about him at the top of the telecast, Vern. When he plays really well, there's a good look for Singer. Duke will need a couple of those deep threes to go, and it also allows them to get into some full court pressure now after the made shot.
1 of 10 from three-point range now for Duke. Here's Hardy again. Beautiful. Absolutely unselfish. Knew he had a teammate cutting along the baseline. Found him, layup.
I've not seen Duke employ a lot of this full court pressure, Vern, and I don't know how comfortable they are at it, with it, or how good they are at it. That was quite easy for St. John's.
Short with a 3. Poley lets it go. St. John's with a 15-point lead.
I was in a crash. My wife didn't know who I was. There's a man pretending to be me.
The question is, why would they want to take your place?
There is no Martin Harris. Put your hands up! He doesn't exist. You really don't remember anything. I didn't forget everything. Hang on.
Unknown. Rated PG-13. Starts February 18th.
Really?
It's time for a phone.
Really? Really?
To save us from our phones. New Windows Phone, designed to get you in and out and back to life. Get yours at AT&T.
This is my band from the 80s, Looker. Hair and mascara. Lethal combo.
I'm John Haber of Alto Music. My business is all about getting music into people's hands, and the Plum Card from American Express Open helps me do that. You name it, I can buy it. And the savings that we get from the early pay discount has given us money to reinvest back into our business and help quadruple our floor space.
How can the Plum Card's trade terms get your business booming?
Booming is putting more music in more people's hands.
You're watching NCAA basketball on CBS.
It's a race against the clock.
The target's not been revealed as of yet.
To stop a terrorist plot.
You have 48 hours, detective.
A new Blue Bloods, CBS Wednesday. Sunday, February 13th. It's music's biggest night, the Grammys. With all your favorite stars. The Grammy Awards live, only CBS.
And now let's take a look at today's AT&T in-game analysis.
Well, how about this? Points off the pass for Duke, only 2 assists versus 9 turnovers. Not the ratio you want. We talked about how huge this would be for St. John's. They're shooting 60%, and the free throw game +3 in makes and +4 in attempts for St. John's. And Vern, what we've seen is an advantage in quickness being exploited by St. John's. Quickness off the dribble in the half court, quickness to miss shots, quickness in the full court in transition.
We had a chance to talk to Gene Katie before the game. One of the keys, coach, who was a longtime legend of Purdue, and he said, well, if we score more baskets, we got a heck of a chance.
The way he phrased it, Vernon, was hilarious. He said, it's amazing how many games you win when you shoot better than the other team. And that's true. I mean, it's simplistic, but it is a huge barometer, in part because it gives you confidence, and the other part is it allows you to get your defense set. When you're knocking down shots, you can set your defense.
That one off St. John's after the missed 3. Gene Katie, of course, gave Steve Lavin his first job as a graduate assistant after Steve had graduated from Chapman College. So one of the first moves Lavin made was to ask Gene to come out of retirement and serve as a special assistant.
And an excellent move it was. I played at Ohio State in the late 70s, early 80s, and Gene Katie took over at Purdue my sophomore year. We had some knockdown dragouts with the Boilermakers, and he had a great run of success as the Boilermakers head coach.
First time I met Gene Katie, Wash. Just thinking about it now, he was an assistant to Eddie Sutton
Western Kentucky, Arkansas.
They'd come from Creighton.
Yeah, that's right.
That was just a couple years ago.
And I've always enjoyed the fact that his scowl belies his wonderful personality. He's one of the most enjoyable coaches to be around.
There's a jumper.
And he'll be quite pleased and even in more of a good mood if this team keeps playing the way they're playing.
Well, it's a pivotal game for St. John's. Off the glass and good. As we've said, under Norm Roberts, and Norm Roberts did a fine job with his program. Took it over when it was in the depths.
Yeah.
And got these 10 seniors who are part of this thing. But now, this is a year of transition, I think, for them. And if they could be a factor in Big East play. And they've got, as we mentioned, a couple of big ones over Georgetown, Notre Dame. Here's Horn, nice. Corner, baseline jumper, got it.
They beat West Virginia on the road as well, 4-5 in the league. And again, stepping out of the conference now and facing a Duke team that has played really well to this point in the season, but it's been a tough day here in the first 20 minutes today.
Horn for 2 more. Wow. Duke is being undressed in this game.
All St. John's.
Hardy for 2, 3. Tip. Watch out, Clark. It's coming our way. As Al McGuire once said, look out, big fella. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Gus Johnson and Seth Davis will review all the key action from last night. That's coming up on AT&T at the half. Wow. 43-24. Now let's take a look at our Applebee's neighborhood favorites in 2003 here at the Garden. The Red Storm's Marcus Hatton was fouled by Duke as time expired with the score tied. Hatton sank a free throw to cap a 12-0 run to end the game, and St. John's knocked off the Blue Devils 72-71. Then they were ranked 6th in the country. How about this? You said you were not surprised because conference play is underway.
It is underway, and only 3 of these teams that were ranked lost at home. So when you go into another team's building in conference play, no matter what the rankings say, it's not as much of a surprise or an upset. When you go and win on the road against the ranked team, as Georgetown did, as Arkansas did, that's impressive, as Louisville did.
Yes.
So I give those a little more weight. But clearly, it speaks to the fact, Vern, that there's an awful lot of jockeying for separation as we move towards the next 6 weeks in terms of determining really good teams versus good teams and those that are trying to become good.
That was a pretty good block by Burrell, didn't you think?
Outstanding. Their effort and intensity has been superb, and their ability to get out and convert in the open court. There they are again.
There you are. A 21-point dismantling.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see how Duke is able to come out in the second half here. One, how they finish the last 53 seconds of this half. And talking to Coach K before the game, he mentioned that he knew his team would face a revved-up, focused, well-playing St. John's team because this game carries probably a lot more weight for St. John's in the Big East than perhaps it does for Duke. Although for the ACC, this is a huge game because it's an out-of-conference matchup late in the season. And because the ACC has not really had a strong year, Duke, the only ranked team other than Florida State in one of the polls, so a chance to make a statement. And he wondered how his team would respond in this kind of a setting.
I don't think he's happy.
No, he's not pleased at all
with the answer he's been given.
Nor are the players, and it'll be, again, interesting to see how they try to re-energize themselves for the next 20 minutes.
Well, the last time Duke lost in the Garden to St. John's was in the game we just showed you, of which we showed you the highlights. There's another pass underneath, and a foul is going to be called on Kelly. Well, it was fun yesterday watching our golf guys in San Diego. It's always tough duty out there. Final round coverage coming up early on. Phil Mickelson, Johnny Vegas, who won the Hope in a playoff last week. Bubba Watson and Bill Haas are tied. Anthony Kim, who's back on form, is at 10 under. Phil Mickelson with the lead, and we'll be going out to San Diego. Jim and Nick and the rest of the gang as soon as this one is in the books. Sean Evans back on the floor. He replaces DJ Kennedy. There have been a lot of guys in white uniforms who've excelled here in the first half.
And one of the things Steve Lavin told us prior to the game is we are our best when we do it as a group, when we have multiple contributors, and that certainly has been the case for this 20 minutes, Vern.
Brownlee with 11, final 25 seconds of this first half. One lost Duke. This game is a sellout, by the way. St. John's usually sells out when they got a Duke coming in or some of the more formidable Big East opponents.
They love their basketball here.
And they know it pretty well.